Hi, Kevin here. Today we're making a chocolate mayonnaise cake. Now, this is the kind of cake that my grandmother would have made way back in the 1930s. It's a Depression era cake. And the first thing you will need is a baking dish. This dish is 8.5 inches across and 12 inches long and 2.5 inches deep, but a 9 by 13 baking dish will work perfectly well. And then you'll need to preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, for the dry ingredients, you will need 2 cups, that's 260 grams of all-purpose flour, and I did weigh this. And to the flour, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Sure I get all of that out of there. And a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then you will need 2/3 cup, that's 65 grams of unsweetened cocoa powder, also known as baking cocoa. And since there are always a lot of lumps in baking cocoa, I'm going to sift it into the flour mixture. Yeah, so the mayonnaise in this cake, I know it sounds ghastly, but the mayonnaise is going to replace the oil in the cake. So I think maybe during the 1930s, cooking oil or vegetable oil was maybe hard to come by. All right, there we are. Then whisk this mixture together. You want to whisk it very well to make sure that the baking powder and the baking soda and the salt are all evenly dispersed or distributed. Just be patient here. I'm working as fast as I can. Okay. Now, I've never made this cake before, but I have tasted of it. And it's very moist, very chocolatey, and very delicious. Okay, I think we're mixed enough. All right, I'm going to clear the decks and pull out my stand mixer. Now, if you don't have a stand mixer, you can absolutely mix this batter with electric beaters. You can even mix it in a large bowl with just a stout wooden spoon. So what I've put in the mixing bowl is 3 large room temperature eggs. And now I'm going to add 1 2/3 cups, that's 335 grams of just regular granulated sugar. I'm going to attach the paddle attachment. And then I'm going to beat the eggs and the sugar at high speed for probably 2 minutes, just until the mixture turns pale and somewhat fluffy. So we'll come back after this is mixed. All right, we are good and mixed here. So now I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract and 1 cup, that's 220 grams, of mayonnaise. And this is full-fat Hellmann's mayonnaise. As a matter of fact, I think it was Hellmann's that created this recipe. Plop. Got my spatula. Yeah, the mayonnaise replaces the oil and probably some of the eggs that would have been in this cake batter. And again, it makes the cake super moist. You don't even taste the mayonnaise. All right, let me blend that in. All right, that was quick. Now we have to add the dry ingredients, the flour and cocoa mixture. And what I'm going to do is add just 1/3 of this flour mixture. And then I'm going to beat that in, just at low speed. Okay, and then I'm going to add in total 1 1/3 cups of just regular water. And 1 1/3 cups is 320 ml. And I'm going to add half of this. So we're alternating the dry ingredients and the water. And now I'm going to add another 1/3 of the flour. Again, this is just at low speed. And the rest of the water. And then the remaining flour mixture. So this is a very easy batter to make. And again, you can use electric handheld mixers or even just a stout wooden spoon. Before I owned an electric mixer, I made all of my batters with a stout wooden spoon. In fact, I still have that spoon. It's right here. It's a very old spoon, I might add. Okay, I think we're mixed. Now, another spatula and just scrape down the bowl. Scoop in any flour that you spilled on the rim of the bowl. Wiping my hand here. And just stir. Yeah, you want to make sure all of the flour and cocoa are incorporated. And then detach the bowl. Let me fetch my cake pan or my baking dish. Move you in so you can see, and just pour the batter into the baking dish. Well, it certainly smells terrific, and it does not smell like mayonnaise. And my oven is preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, now this goes into the oven until a toothpick inserted in the center of the cake comes out clean. And that is going to take, 30 to 35 minutes. So we'll come back when this is done, and then I'm going to make a chocolate, here I'll talk with you, a chocolate buttercream frosting. So we'll be back. All right, here's the cake all baked, and it does smell terrific. Now, because I poured the batter into a smaller pan than what the recipe recommended, it did take longer to bake. I baked mine for 45 minutes, and I did test it with a wooden skewer, and the skewer came out clean, so it is definitely done. Now, I'm going to set this aside to let it cool for a moment, and then, too close. we can make the buttercream frosting. All right, to make the chocolate buttercream frosting, you will need 1 cup, that's 226 grams, of either salted or unsalted butter, softened to room temperature. And I'm going to make the frosting in my stand mixer. You can use electric beaters. And now I'm going to beat the butter until it turns pale and fluffy, and that's going to take a minute or two, so I'll come back. All right, here's the butter. I'm going to scrape down the bowl very quickly. Okay, reattach the paddle attachment. Are we on there? Yes. Okay, and then, let me get this off. I'm going to add 4.5 cups, that's 540 grams of confectioner sugar. And I did sift this confectioner sugar just to get rid of lumps. See, actually, I should take off this paddle attachment just for a moment so I can add the sugar. Okay, I'm also going to add, where did it go? 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. And then, back on with the paddle attachment. And don't worry, the chocolate is coming. Here we go. Do this at low speed, otherwise the confectioner's sugar is going to fly out all over your face. Okay. Now, once the sugar is pretty much moistened with the butter, you can boost the speed of the mixer. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to add 3/4 cup, that's 62 grams, of unsweetened cocoa powder, also known as baking cocoa, and that is 62 grams. And I did sift this. Blend that in, again at low speed. Okay. Then I'm going to add 1 to 2 tablespoons of, well, it's supposed to be milk, but I didn't have any milk, so I'm using half and half. Here goes 1. Yeah, you want to add enough milk or half and half or even heavy cream just until you achieve the consistency you want. Going to add another tablespoon. Should have lowered this. And I can already tell this is going to need a little more half and half. Maybe just half a tablespoon. This time I'll remember to lower the machine. Yeah, so that was 1 to 2 or even slightly more tablespoons of milk, half and half, or cream. Okay, let's have a look. Very thick. So I am going to add a little more of the half and half. We'll add another, well, about a half tablespoon. Yeah, you really have to play around with frostings till you get them just right. All right, let's check this. Oh, it looks good. Here it is. Beautiful. All right. When the cake cools, I'm going to frost the cake, so I'll be back. All right, getting ready to frost the cake, and I wanted to tell you that I did add another tablespoon of half and half, just to thin out the frosting a little more, because I was afraid that it was so thick that it might tear the cake as I frosted it. So, and I wanted to tell you that you do not have to frost your cake. This cake is so moist, it doesn't require any frosting at all. In fact, when my friend made the mayonnaise cake, he just showered it heavily with confectioner's sugar. Okay, now, I am not a master cake froster, so bear with me, please. And this cake has cooled for about 30 minutes, which really isn't long enough, but I am eager to taste the cake. Let's see how this goes. It's a beautiful frosting. And guess who's going to be licking the paddle attachment? Yeah, I licked a lot of frosting when I was a kid. It is a habit that has stayed with me all these years. Okay, well, this is going on fairly smoothly. Okay, I will finish frosting this cake and then I'll come back. All right, I'm back. This frosting is going on very easily and very thickly. And I do like a thick layer of frosting, especially buttercream frosting. Of course, the frosting is basically just butter and confectioner's sugar, so what's not to like about that? All right, I think we are good. Here's something else I get to lick. All right, so let me cut a slice and then I'll show you what the cake looks like on the plate. All right, I've cut the cake into 9 squares. My plan is to eat 1 square tonight and then freeze the rest. Well, it certainly looks beautiful. Have a look. Got a very nice crumb. Okay, a taste. Yes, very moist. Oh, it's heavenly. Yeah, it's very moist, very chocolatey, and very, very delicious. And of course, the buttercream frosting is out of this world delicious. So I hope you will give this cake a try. It's an unusual cake in that it contains mayonnaise, but it's a cake with a history since it dates back to the 1930s. All right, I will post the list of ingredients in the description box below, and then in a day or two, I will put a printable recipe over on my website, and I will put a link to the website in the description box below. So again, please make this cake, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.